Um, all right. Hey, everyone. I'm just gonna let this go. Wait, maybe 15 more seconds because I see some participants who just came in. But otherwise, I'll get started quite shortly. But okay. All right, guys. Hi, my name is Nathan. I am the product manager here at zipBoard. And today I'm going to be going over a deep dive into the product. So I'm going to be demonstrating a couple of the newest updates we have, as well as some ways that you can improve as well and just better utilize the tool when working overall in your projects and with your clients. So let's get started. So the agenda today is we're just gonna do a quick intro to zipBoard and the problem that we solve. Then we're going to go into a demonstration of the standard markup tools that we have available. And then we're going to go into advanced more project management and client management types of tools that we can use to manage the review process. And then lastly, we'll finish this off with a QA session and some closing remarks. So zipBoard is a review and approval software for all kinds of reviews. And what we really excel at is collaborative reviews. So whether you're in e-learning or you're in government or you're working a lot with PDFs, videos, images, etc., maybe web development, zipBoard allows you to have a collaborative review and basically just centralize all that work together in one place and have it organized very neatly. So we help transform your team's review process. So based on that, we found that the most common challenges for reviewers across all disciplines is that there are significant delays between feedback and implementation. There's a lot of disorganization due to disconnected systems. Reviewers generally are not properly enabled, so maybe they don't have the right tools to provide the feedback appropriately. There's often multiple segments leading to a disconnected review process, as well as lastly, the big one is working with external stakeholders. So oftentimes there are clients that you need to share your content with, and they don't necessarily have the ability, or let's say they're even not properly enabled to perform the review and provide that feedback in a timely and organized manner. So zipBoard comes in, and zipBoard is a central and secure place for all creative proofing reviews, as well as any other type of reviews. So what we can do is we allow you to access your content from anywhere. You can upload your content or sync with DMS. You can mark up your uploads with a variety of tools, which I'm about to demonstrate with you, and you can effortlessly assign that to your team. Managers can generate reports on the issues for better project management, and you can share with both your internal and external stakeholders, as well as customize your review cycles to improve your collaboration. So let's just get started with the demos. So we're going to first start off with what zipBoard does look like as a review tool. So coming into zipBoard, the first thing that most people do right off the bat is create a project. This is what we're going to call this new product demo. You can add a description at your own discretion. And here we're going to upload a content. And for this demo, I'm going to be using a zip file. So this is more, I guess, an e-learning type of file that we were showing to review. Here you can name it, you can add a description. Right now there's no phase in this project, but you can assign it a phase later on. So one thing to note, because this is a zip file, this will take a bit longer to load, but while it's loading, as you saw in the upload section, you can upload URLs, you can upload images, you can upload PDFs, you can upload videos, and you can also upload zip files as we are right now. So basically, zipBoard is a very comprehensive tool that you can use across basically any document that you need to review. So once that's uploaded, you can either launch the review right away, or maybe you have to go away. You can come back to it later on when you open the project simply by clicking on the modal and hitting review in the center there, or you can go and click on review from the bottom corner and it'll just launch the review. So right here on the left side, we have our toolbar, we have a rectangle tool, we have a pencil tool, we have a highlighter tool, we have an arrow tool, we have an eraser. We have the ability to hide all of the tools that we've just annotated on. We have a screenshot option. We can do slideshow mode, which I'll show you later. We have a device mode, which I'll also show you later. We can change the content status, and we can also now disable comments. So there's been quite a few updates. So let me walk you through each of these. So the first one is the standard rectangle. This is probably one that almost everyone here is familiar with. It's just easy to put a box or a rectangle around anything that you want. But the biggest update we have is with our pencil. So now we've actually added the ability to choose the thicknesses of our pencils. And this can be particularly useful in the case where you maybe want to jot something down, or actually with our new update, our highlighter tool. So I'm just going to show you that next. And what's great about this is prior to this, our highlighter tool only really worked for text, but with this new update, we actually can highlight basically anything. So any image, any part of any document, it no longer needs to identify text. You can just freely highlight anything within the upload. So make your annotation and then add your comment. It's quite simple. Next, we have our arrow, or I guess our pointer annotation. And I believe most people are very familiar with this one too. So there's no changes to this one as of yet. So next, I'm going to navigate away to a different part of this course just for further demonstration purposes. And I'm going to show you our new update within the screenshots. So we have a screenshot and annotate feature. So prior to this, if you wanted to take a screenshot, it would launch a new tab. Now it kind of just renders right in place, so you don't have to get all messy with the new tabs. And with this, the beauty of this is that any annotation you make on here will not result in it being stuck on the live documentation. And what that means is now that I've made this screenshot here, when I exit out, it's no longer part of this view in the live view, but you saw on the top right corner that that counter has gone up to 4 from 3. The other thing we have now is a ability to disable comments. So if you toggle that little button off, you can now actually add your annotations without comments. And so this particular thing would be most useful for people that want to use the pencil annotation. So maybe they want to write something down. They can just toggle off the comments and then just switch to the pencil and jot something down. And here, once you toggle it back off, commenting returns to all your annotations. Next, we're going to show you the navigation. So with this right side toolbar, you can actually navigate between comments. So as you saw, I just jumped from the other part of this course back to the initial part based on the navigation. Here, I'm just hiding all of the pop-ups. So perhaps you don't want to see everything, or your screen is a bit crowded, you can just hide them. Next, this is another really cool feature that we just implemented, and it's the toggle opacity off. And this basically just makes our comment boxes and annotations a little bit transparent. And the benefit of that is that way you don't necessarily have to move your comment box away if you want to see what's under it. You can just hit that button and it'll go away. The other thing that we have recently added is a device mode. So device mode allows you to view the content as if you were using a separate device. So this is through the lens of an iPhone 13 Pro Max. And the way you annotate on here is you use the same screenshot and annotate function that I showed before. So you have to take a screenshot first, but after you do that, you can either exit out right away and go back to the original screen, or you can hit the back button and continue navigating through. In a new screen, you can launch another screenshot and annotate, but if you don't want to, you can just simply exit out. From here, we have our content status changing, and this is the last new feature update I'll show you. And basically what this means is that while you're reviewing, you can actively change the status of your content. So before it was open, now it's approved. And just for another demo, I'm going to change this to rejected. And you'll see here that the status of this upload has been changed to rejected as well. So you can do that directly from the review tool. So now we're going to move on to what you do with the feedback you've just given. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to jump back into the project and go into the task list. And here we'll see all of the tasks or the comments that I wrote down with the annotations have been generated as a task. I can assign them to some people. I can change the status. I can change its type. I can set it to I can give it a due date. Here I had already given this one the due date. You can assign it a phase, but again, we'll go over that a bit later. We can add tags. So if this is something that's very important, you can tag it as important. And lastly, you can add watchers. So a watcher to this task means that they'll get notified whenever something in this task changes, but they're not assigned the task. So maybe this is the best fit for your project manager who wants to know when this task is getting, open to in progress to approved, but they're not the one that's supposed to necessarily do the task. Here, there's a little description box. This is what you can use to give further context to the task. And just under that, we have a replies section. And this is just more like a running thread of comments if you have multiple people interacting with this task. And yeah, here you can mention people. And if you mention them, they'll actually get a notification in zipBoard. And that notification will take them straight to that task. So next, I'm going to talk about how we can use slideshow mode in our review process, because this is something that's a bit underutilized, but if you're working with screenshots especially, this can be quite a powerful tool. So for slideshow mode, I'm going to jump back into the project first to launch it. And just one thing to note on the bottom right side here is that the reply that I wrote in that previous task, you can actually see them here. So you have like that live thread within the actual review process. But I clicked on the little slideshow button in the toolbar, and that's going to launch this thing called slideshow mode. And here, essentially, zipBoard will take a screenshot every time that you create any kind of annotation. And so slideshow mode kind of collates all of these screenshots together so you can review each of your comments one by one. Again, if it gets a bit too messy otherwise, if you're doing it all live, here's a way to simplify and have it all together. So the other really cool thing about this mode is you can actually launch the task modal from here. And this most likely would be helpful for assignment purposes or status changes. So within this mode, you can see everything with the task side by side with the screenshot and the relevant annotation. And again, you have all the capabilities here: tags, watchers, due dates, etc. So here you can change the status. I'm not going to. And lastly, so when I was talking about having the screenshots together, the reason why it's quite useful is towards the end here, we have a screenshot that was made from device mode. So in the slideshow mode, you not only have a collection of all of the screenshots that are generated from live reviewing, but also any screenshots that aren't live that you can't see otherwise. They're bundled together. So this is basically a bundle of live and screenshotted annotations. So you can have a comprehensive review without having to worry about missing anything. So next, I'm going to go over using phases as key milestones in your review cycle. So we can create phases, and using those phases, we can have them as benchmarks in your review cycle to basically determine the level of progress you are within a project. So right here, I'm just going to set up all the phases quickly in this demo to show you, to just give you a sense of structure to start with. So this phase that we're going to start first is going to be called milestone 1, alpha review. You can, as you saw, give it a description, you can change its status, and you can also give it a completion date. But for the sake of this demo, I will not be doing that. So this would be called milestone 2, beta review. And then this is just going to be, milestone 3, final review. And this is how we advise people set up their phases. But depending on your workflow, these phases, the structure of the phases may change. But basically here, what we're going to do is I'm going to add a bit more content so that way you can see how this works a bit better as opposed to just having one thing in there. So I'm adding a PDF here. We need to change that to V1 and click add. And PDFs load much faster than courses, as you can see. But I'm also going to set this to open because we previously set it to rejected just to clear things out a bit. So from here on, I'm going to use this PDF just because it's a bit quicker as the loading point. So you can assign your team members to an upload, or you can completely unassign them if things change. That's the very quick button to get rid of all people that are assigned to it. But let's say I assign this to myself. Here, I can change the status. So let's say it's been assigned to me. I'm going to now say that this thing is in progress. I can also submit a due date for this. And we also have the tags function as we did in task. So let's say this particular upload is a very important one. Lastly, there's also description in this modal. And within this description area, you can again just add more relevant context to what exactly it is that you added. So moving from here, let's say for the sake of argument that I've decided, I've completed this review and this has now been approved. Well, you can do one of two things. You can now allocate all your reviewing resources to whatever's left in the alpha review, or you can manage it whereby, if your PDF V1 is already done, you can end up loading a new one. So here, let's say, now I'm choosing to manage the other content, but actually, if you had internalized that feedback and you had turned that into something, you've already created the document for it, you can go ahead and just upload it in the project again. This one will be called PDF V2 for the sake of this demonstration. And now you'll see side by side, okay, I have PDF V1 completed from its alpha review, and now it's open within the beta review. And I'm going to say, maybe it's just got started in progress. Conversely, you could just go ahead and work on the content within your alpha review. And once that's approved, side by side, you'll see, okay, my entire alpha review is done. Then I'm going to go ahead and start with my beta review. So here, there's we're going to add a zip file just to show side by side what that would look like. So again, in the beta review, I'm having it here named as, V2. You can name it as beta. You can name it as any other kind of demarker, but it's generally advised that you have a similar but slightly different name so you don't get confused between the versions. And I'm just going to click off here and wait for it to load. But basically, yeah, so what you end up having here is a project that has multiple phases, and each phase has their content in it. And as you progress from phase to phase, you can upload the newly generated content with the feedback that's been implemented from the prior phase. And you can kind of just roll from phase to phase, left to right, until your project is complete. Next, I'm going to talk about sharing content and getting feedback from clients using zipBoard. So we have two ways that we can work with clients in zipBoard, and one of them is having them directly sign up in zipBoard and become clients within your project, and the other way is with share links. So I'm going to go start with the former. So here in the project view again, you can see on the left side, there's a collaborator tab here. You can choose to add your clients, and you'll notice that the project has now shown up in your client view. On the right side, I forgot to mention, this is what the client sees. So they have a very restricted view. They can see comments, messages, and uploads, but they certainly can't see, any of the other parameters that you have if you're a normal collaborator. So now that they are added as a client, they actually don't have access to anything until you individually share with them. So as you can see, their uploads are 0. But if you go into an upload and you click share and you click on the client and you share directly with that client, you'll notice under content now, there's a 1. And here's a little side-by-side of what those views look like. So your clients can now see the overall project structure. They can't affect the structure, so they can't do anything. But what they can do is see what they've been assigned, as well as they can launch the review on their own. So clients can actually come back to where you were last in the review, and that's what that button is showing here. And they also have all the same capabilities. So again, in the tasks, if they can jump back to different sections to see what the comments were referencing, and they have the ability to make their own comments as well and annotations. So here, this is just a simple directive, change this. And once this has been changed, you can go and see within the project what that ends up looking like. And so it comes back in the project as something called external feedback. So for the clients itself, they're called comments. But if you look in the collaborative view, it's called external feedback. There's a little 1 beside there. And with the comment view, they basically have very limited ability. Their modal is quite restricted, but what they can do is they can compel whatever they've added as a task. And so if they decide to do that right now, this is considered external feedback and there's no addition to the task. But if they compel it to be a task, you'll see that, yes, it stays as external feedback here, but when you go into your project, this is a task and you'll see the little reported by external right there. So now it's something that your project manager or your team can assign to anybody basically working on the project, and it has the exact same task modal. Next, I'm going to go over how we use share links to work with the clients. And share links are generally used if your clients don't want to create a zipBoard account, or they have just some reservations overall. This is a very quick and simple way for them to work in your project and provide feedback. But it's also limited in what they have to do in terms of their actions to do it. So again, we're going to start off in this view here. And we're going to go to the same Go mode generic upload, and we're going to click the share button. And within the share button, you can see that there are different modes, and we're going to use the guest mode here. So the permissions that have been enabled are the view all boards and add new boards. And basically all that means is that if these permissions are enabled, whoever has this share link can view all the prior comments made by everyone. So that includes clients or collaborators, as well as they can add their own comments. And they're basically there. This just provides them feedback capabilities entirely. There's no project management aspect to people that have share links. So here you can see the URLs change when you switch the permissions. So you have the ability to toggle off the ability for your reviewers to comment, or the ability for your viewers to annotate, depending on what you need. And you can manage these links in the shared links section of this modal, whereby you can also delete the links. So let's say you've sent out a link and you no longer want it active, you can easily delete it from here and they will not be able to access the project with it anymore. But I'm going to go ahead and copy this link and put it in a search bar, and I'm just going to launch the upload from here. And what it's going to do is it's going to ask you your name, which is mandatory, but you can also optionally have the email of the reviewer, but if the reviewer does not want to, they do not have to. They can go ahead and click continue. And what they'll end up seeing is basically the exact same view that the client saw, plus the client's comments. So what they have here is they can see this was a comment done by an external user. They can see some running feedback, and they can go ahead and make their own comments and their own annotations in the project. And so there's no project management aspect to this. So once they decide to make their comment, that's pretty much the extent of what they can do. So that means, unlike clients, they can't compel any of their comments to be tasks. So if you're going to come back in to your project here, you'll see that you have another external feedback. But the guest reviewer does not see this. So they don't have the ability to add this as task. Anything coming from a share link, if you want it to be a task, that needs to be at the discretion of your project manager or whoever's managing the external feedback. And in this case, I just wrote a very simple comment of, I like this, and I like this to me does not warrant a task. And so it does not get added to the task list automatically. And it, for a comment like that, it'll most likely just stay within the external feedback section. So I've gone over basically all of the demo product for you guys, and we got about 4 minutes left. So now I invite anybody that has questions, if they would like to go ahead and ask them. I think maybe Gaurav or Bhavya will be managing those. Are there any questions? Gaurav or Bhavya? I can't tell. I can't hear you if you're saying anything.
No, I think this went very well. Nathan, I do not see any questions, so it seems like the content was crystal clear, or maybe there are questions that you might have for future. You can reach out to us either or you can even reach out at support@zipboard.co. And yeah.
Oh, we have one message in the chat.
Which is the email ID to reach out to us.
Okay.
In case, if any have any further questions.
All right, then I'll just go ahead with the very quick recap. So, with zipBoard, the key points here is you can automatically capture all feedback. It's quick and easy to integrate into your workflows, and receiving and managing client feedback can all be done really in one place here. So like Bhavya said, if anybody has any questions, don't hesitate. You can send us an email, and we'd be happy to have any other demos or any further dialogue with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Thanks, everyone. I'll talk to you guys at the next one. Bye, guys.